failure of the government in managing the future submarine program is one of the biggest failures in defence procurement in our nation's history, and today Scott Morrison absolutely owns that.
Is Labor comfortable with an open-ended commitment to increase defence spending?
We support the 2% of GDP spend in relation to defence. It's an important benchmark, in noting that the strategic circumstances that Australia faces are as complex now as they've been at any point since the Second World War. All public spending comes under scrutiny, but the 2% spend of GDP on defence is a critical commitment to ensuring Australia's defence and our sovereignty going forward.
Scott Morrison said this morning that he believes that this deal will help the stability of that region. Do you think that it does, in fact, stabilise what's going on in the Pacific, or does it destabilise it?
I think an affirmation of our alliance with the United States is fundamentally important to stability within the region. I think improving Australia's defence capability is also a critically important step in improving the stability of the region. And we acknowledge what has been announced today and its contribution to that. But I reiterate, in the same breath, Scott Morrison has now owned up to the biggest failure in defence procurement that our nation has seen. Billions of dollars spent on nothing, thousands of jobs lost, and critical years wasted, which raised the potential for a capability gap in our submarine capability.
Speaking of stability, what about the relationship now between Australia and France? Does that continue to be stable?
Well, I think it's very important that this government works on the relationship with France. France is a really important country for Australia. They are a Pacific nation. They have significant interests in the Pacific, and we have worked closely with France in respect of that. In some ways, they're our closest neighbour. The closest overseas population to the southeast corner of Australia is actually in France, in Noumea and New Caledonia. And so this is a country with whom we have a lot of shared interests, and it's really important in light of the decision which has been made here, which is going to have a significant impact, I would imagine, on Australia's bilateral relationship with France, that the government does everything it can to get that relationship in the right place.
So reneging on that deal for the focus to be on nuclear submarines, in terms of the technology, what do you make of that being a choice for the future? Is it the right one?
Well, we accept that this technology represents the best option for Australia's future submarine capability. In saying that, we obviously acknowledge the undertakings that were made today, which is that this is not a move on the part of Australia down the path of procuring nuclear weapons. Obviously, it's not a move towards developing a civil nuclear industry, but we understand the importance of the capability in terms of the propulsion system on our future submarine capability.